Hi, good morning, everybody.
Good
Good morning. We are Alexander's Aesthetics, and we are so happy to have Chrissy with us today from RefectoCil to show us the newest, hottest trend, which is brow lamination. So thank you so much, Chrissy, for joining us. We're so excited that you were able to do this, and I know that our clients are very excited to learn how to use the RefectoCil products that we currently carry to just add a new service. It's not any new products that they need to invest in if they already have those. So that's a really major plus for this. Before we get started, I just want to do some introductions. I'm Wendy from the Colorado office. This is our employee Trini. We're wearing masks because we are not social distancing right now. We have Farhana calling in from our California office. Farhana,
Hi, everyone.
Farhana is the brains behind all the marketing, social media, webinars, everything you see and hear. That is all coming from Farhana. So thank you for all you do, Farhana. And then, of course, we have Chrissy from, are you in Toronto?
Yes.
Toronto. Okay, yes, all the way from Canada. So those quick introductions. I also would like to take a minute to make sure everybody can find the handouts and also the question box, because we'll be answering questions throughout the presentation. A lot of times we wait till the end, but since we have an 8-minute processing time, we will be answering questions during that time as well. So if you go to your control panel, there's a questions area. And if you can just go ahead and locate that and type in where you're from, because we always love to see where people are joining us from. So take a minute to do that, and I can see, and I see Renee is on. Hi, Renee. All right. And then also I want to point out that we have some handouts for you. We also have a service in any service that you do. So you can, while you're on this presentation, you can go ahead and download that. That's only available to those of us that are attending. Also, this presentation will be recorded. Presentation and demo will be recorded, and you will receive a link within 24 hours about where you can download if you want to rewatch it, so you can start practicing this service. All right, so Chrissy and Farhana, let me tell you where people are joining us from. We've got Texas, lots of California. We've got some from Colorado, Seattle, Washington, New Orleans, New Jersey, Vancouver, Washington. We've got lots more from California and Colorado. Yay. All over. Let's see. We've got Michelle St. Pierre from Connecticut. Hi, Michelle. Chandler, Arizona, Palm Springs. Great. So many people on. So thank you so much. I'm glad you guys could find the question box. So for now, Farhana and I are going to pop off so the screen can get bigger and you can see Chrissy and her presentation, and then we'll come back on. And again, go ahead and answer questions about the presentation and we'll get Chrissy involved. All right. Thank you so much, Chrissy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So I'm just going to, once again, just briefly to do introduction of myself. So my name is Chrissy Parashos, and I am the head trainer for North America for RefectoCil. So I do a lot of these trainings. I go to a lot of schools when we were able to pre-COVID, and do a lot of the trainings at trade shows as well. So my passion is for RefectoCil. I do enjoy working with lashes and brows. And today we want to get you excited as well to be able to offer and get comfortable with this new hottest new trend called brow lamination. So we're going to start off with the presentation here on the brow lamination. If you can message or in the chat box and let Wendy know that you can see the presentation. It should be up already. I'll have to minimize my box so I can see my presentation, but hopefully you can see it. And if Wendy, it's all good, I could, if they say yes, they can see the presentation. I'm going to proceed with.
I think you're good.
Perfect.
You're good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the hot and trend, oh, there's two N's. I'm so sorry. Hot and trending is this brow lamination. So if you haven't heard about it, it's a very a trend for 2020. Since it started in 2019 towards the end, but since COVID hit and we had to deal with that issue, it kind of was put on a back end, but now it's resurfacing and it's all about brow lamination when you look at all the Instagrams and the befores and afters of what you can achieve. And as Wendy had mentioned, this is done with the kits already from the lift or the curl, so it's not a new product that you have to purchase. It's the solutions that are in the lift and the curl, so it becomes dual. Okay, so that's awesome. That's the plus side of that. So let's go with the next slide. A little bit of a history of RefectoCil, and I know everyone has heard about RefectoCil. When I'm at trade shows, I have people come to the booth and let me know that we've been using this for 20 plus years or 15 years. It's our go-to for tints. And so RefectoCil, we know, is the world leading brand. It is since 1930. So over 70 years, this company has been around to providing the best you can say, or the best tints for your lashes and brows, that you'll have those results that you need for your clients, and also the safest way, because they're very all about preserving and caring for your lashes and your brows. So they're represented in over more than 65 countries. I had the pleasure of being able to go to Mexico City when they launched it there and get all that country excited. So it's a reputable brand, and because of their millions and millions of successful applications using the tints and now using our lifts, they're very well recognized. Okay, so just a little brief overview. The trend. So what's this trend we are talking about? Well, everybody wants them, but few of us have them. What is that? It's our beautifully defined, full yet natural looking eyebrows, but without those painful treatments or permanent makeup. Not all of us can be the right fit when it comes to doing microblading or permanent makeup. Maybe some of us are not into needles, can't really take that a little bit more invasive treatment. We're more sensitive depending on our medication. So what other alternative can there be for those that want a less invasive treatment? So the new brow lamination, this will do just a similar effect as your permanent makeup, your microblading, a little bit more natural because it is using your own hairs that you have, and then you give more depth to it with your tinting. So we create more volume, stability, and fullness. So when we say stability, you're also giving stability to those very unruly brows. So if you have somebody that has that kink or that curl in their brows, you can use this service even to just relax the brows. You might use it half the timing if you want, if they don't really want that full brow lamination look. So you give that stability, but as well stability, meaning that you give the hair that desired position to last for a while, okay? The service, the new brow lamination by RefectoCil service will breathe new life into the eyebrows. Your customers will be wowed of potentially what their brows can look like and how thick they can get with looking with their natural hair already. And it will course the brow hairs into an ideal shape that will last. So it won't last as long as a lash lift. Brows are a little bit more because they're more predominant. They're at the surface of the face here. They get exposed more to the sun, to oils. We rub them much more in the shower. We might pass exfoliants on them, forgetting to go over our brows. So potentially might not last as long as a lash lift, but we do have aftercare product that can help to style it still after those 3 weeks maybe have passed and you start to see that little bit of decrease of the brow lamination. We do have a styling gel that can prolong that wear. Okay, so use the RefectoCil eyelash lift kit or the RefectoCil eyelash curl kit to define and lift these brows, because it is the lash perm and neutralizer solution that you will use from either of these kits. No glue. There are other systems out there that require the glue, but eliminating that step of glue helps you to do a faster service, because people want to be in and out for these services, and that's with RefectoCil. We can get them in and out, yet achieve 3 services of a lift, a tint, and a shape as well on the brows. And they can be there maybe 45 minutes and out the door. They can come on their break if they wish to during lunch break and get these services done. The semi-permanent setting solution works in just 13 minutes, as we've known with the lash lift and the lash curl. Prior years to this, we did have the curl system, but it took over an hour. The solution times were 25 and 20 minutes. That is way too long to have your client in the bed. And now that they are 13 minutes, 8 and 5 minutes, each 8 for the lash lift, 5 for the neutralizer, and with just 9 simple steps, you get them in and out of the door, okay? We already mentioned that it's a practical double use. So your kit will be for both brows and lashes. So if you already have the kit, you can use out of that the solutions and just replace your solutions. If you're looking at bringing in the services of lash lift and brow lift, well, there you go. You got a kit that's going to do them both, okay? It works fast, as we mentioned, and you can achieve versatile results. And we'll show a slide of what these results are, 3 different looks. Briefly, I want to talk about the Lash Perma Neutralizer. There are many brands out there, and we have to put it into our mind that, yes, we might be professionals for many years, but each brand will have a different set of protocols on how to do it or where to place your solution, and some slight difference in the ingredients. So always, I say, be mindful, read the instructions. Yes, we have the knowledge. If we've tried one kit, we have the knowledge so we feel more comfortable when we try another brand's kit, but always look at the manufacturer instructions to just make sure that are you positioning it where it should be? Some of them you position all the lashes. With our systems, our 2 systems, different positioning of where you put the solution when we talk about lashes, when you're doing a lash lift. But here, what I wanted to talk about with the perm and the neutralizer is the ingredients that are in there, because there are some that are keratin. Beautiful product, works well, gives results, but you always have to keep into mind that you have to follow the manufacturer's label on the timing. Anything increased, it reverses the process and will dry out your brows or your lashes. And this is the question we always get asked at trade shows is, will your product damage? You never want somebody to lead into that first thing they come to your booth and ask that, because it doesn't look good on all the brands. So ours, fortunately, is all about caring for your hair and providing moisture and helping that hair growth of the hair. So nothing it will do will damage like the solutions, but also very important to follow the manufacturer's timing. So with our solutions here, we have collagen and cysteine. So in this service of a lift, you'll be able to give a nourishing lift. When we talk about collagen, it is the commonly occurring structural protein in the human body. And when you put that together and combine it with your cysteine, which are amino acids, these 2 will work together for the hair development. So you'll still have the hair growing as it should, developing as it should, but also at the same time and shaping as it should from the solutions, but as well conditioning and protecting the hairs during this treatment. So that's what we want for our clients, and a product to carry that will do this for our clients. Now we have these different results that you can achieve, or these different looks that you can achieve. Spend that time with your client to see which look they desire, because if you choose the look on yourself and you give somebody a soapy brow, but they weren't prepared for that wild look, they might not leave happy. So spend that time to understand your client's needs, what they want, what the look they're trying to achieve, and how you maneuver the hairs with your brush, with your spoolie, and then place your neutralizer to shape it. That's how it's going to form. I personally love the soapy brows. So as I'm lifting my brows up, I push them to the opposite direction. Right now, my brows are not lifted. I need to get on that again. But when they're soapy brows, they're up and to the opposite side. So think of like the model or the actress Cara Delevingne. She's got that wild look of her brows, but that's what that's what brought this trend as well, is her look. And then when we talk about the laminated brow, as you can see, sorry, the picture's a little bit blurry as I expanded them, but the laminated brow, as you can tell, it's more pressed down, as the word laminated, and it will give that shine. So press down and that shine, and how you maneuver your brush once again to the side is how the hairs will be focused. But as you can see, each hair looks individually separated. You can see each strand, and that's what makes it fuller, and that's what helps to also cover any gaps your client might have. I do have gaps towards my ends, so as I position the hairs in a certain way and then mold them, like reshape them, my gaps are filled. Add that tint and you got volume. Okay, depthness. The fluffy or feathered brow, it's a more in between of your lamination and your wild look. So if somebody wanted to live a little bit on the wild but can't really do the soapy brow, you can give them a more fluffy or feathered look. And that's once again positioning it just upwards. As you can see, the first one's upwards, outwards the hair. The laminate is more down, pressed down to the side as the hair is growing. And then the fluffy or feathered is just up, 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 up movements the hair. Okay, so those are the 3 types of looks that we can achieve. Awesome that you don't have to have just one look. So now we're just going to briefly go through the protocols so that you can have them in your mind as I'm doing them as well with our model. But a little brief overview doesn't hurt. So we're going to have to clean the eyebrows using our RefectoCil eye makeup remover. So in the line of RefectoCil, as you can see in the picture, the pink bottle. This eye makeup remover is amazing. It's like a 3-in-1. So first of all, it is non-oily, as you have to use something that's non-oily. If you're using an oil eye makeup remover, it will stay on the hairs and the skin and will prohibit the solutions to work effectively. The second thing this product has is that it's micellar. So if somebody came in with makeup, and this goes as well with lashes, or they might come in with filled in brows, this will pull out any of that makeup that's also waterproof. So a lot of these brow gels that are out there are waterproof and might take a while to take them off if it wasn't a micellar, if it was just non-oily without that micellar magnet technology to pull out the makeup. And the third thing is has in that little pink circle in that image, it says lash strengthening. I like to say brow and lash strengthening or hair strengthening, because if you're doing a processing, right? You can wipe off after at the end of your service with this, and the amino acids in this eye makeup remover will strengthen those hairs. So 3-in-1, perfect eye makeup remover, so gentle on the eye because I can't really use liquid removers. This one I was able to use. Saline solution. Step number 2 is your saline solution. So with the eye makeup remover, you removed all that makeup, but your saline solution is doing the degreasing part. So we'll remove any residues left from the makeup and maybe any other potential sweat, and we'll be able to degrease and give that canvas, that clean canvas that you need. Just like when you start to paint, you have a nice white clean canvas, nothing is tainted on there. So that's what you need with the skin, with the skin area and the brow area, so that you can have effective results and your painting, which is your client, would look put together. Okay, so after you've done that with the prep work, you can use you'll use the spoolie. We have new brushes, as you can see in that picture. I love them. The one end has a rubber spoolie. A rubber spoolie is a little bit more mild on the hairs because you have to be very soft with the hairs in your brow laminating. You can't be very abrasive because you are processing and it's a little bit like sensitive, the area, so you have to be very gentle with the hairs. So the plastic spoolie will be so much more ideal. So you have it to brush, and then the other side is your to comb, like to brush through your hairs, and the other side has the actual brush. There's 2 types of brushes, one that you can do lashes and one that you can tint or apply solution that's brow, so it's a little bit thicker. So after you've done that, we don't suggest using protection cream around the brow area because it's very oily, first of all. Second of all, you're brushing the hairs up. So as you're brushing the hairs up, you're going to mix that solution with the protection cream. And at the end, it's going to like butt heads and not give you an effective result. So what I teach when I'm doing the demo is just be mindful of the skin. Even when you get it on there, as you're applying on the brows, when I reach to the end of the brow, I grab a Q-tip and I right away clean that area. I don't let it sit there too long. And that way, we won't even give them any sensitivity because it's not meant for skin, it's meant for hair. So after we've done all that prep, now we're going to apply the perm solution. The perm solution, we always say pea size amount, but now you're working with brows. So your pea size amount will elaborate. Sorry, the piece size amount will get much bigger because you're working on a lot more hairs on the brows as opposed to the lashes. So you might, they say about 7 to 8 treatments you can get out of a kit if you're just using it as a brow lamination. About 7 or 8 you can get out of those 2 sets of tubes. So you're going to squeeze a piece size amount, mix it a little bit, and then apply it onto the brows and dab it on nicely. Don't sit there rubbing it, and just try to go with the direction of the hair and place enough to be generous, especially if you have very unruly brows. You need to put enough on there to saturate through. Once I put the solution in, what I like to do, I don't use a plastic wrap unless my client is very, very, very unruly brows, because then it will help to penetrate more. So if I'm not using a plastic wrap and I put on the 8 minutes timing, I will go in halfway, take my spoolie, brush through, because that way you can also see that, yeah, the hairs are losing that bond and they're becoming more like spaghetti, I say, like more workable. So you can see that it's working, and you can also see the hairs that are still might be a little bit stubborn, and you have to apply more solution in that area for the remainder of the time. If you have a plastic wrap on, just remove the plastic wrap, gently brush it, see if you have to apply any solution, and then place the plastic wrap nice and tight. If you're using a plastic wrap, your time is not 7 or 8 minutes, it is 5 minutes. The heat gets transferred faster, like you're giving heat, so it helps solution to transfer faster, and you don't want to risk any over processing by leaving it the full time. So if you're using a plastic wrap, 5 minutes. The neutralizer will always say the same time. It's the lash perm that you have to cut down in the timing. So your 8 minutes or your 5 minutes is up. You grab a dry Q-tip every time dry, and you're going to remove that solution, gentle strokes to how the brow is formed, okay? Once you've done that, you take your spoolie now and you brush the hairs into the position you desired. We want to do the fluffy look, up, 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 up. Then we can place the neutralizer. So don't forget that step, because whatever the brows look like after you remove the Q-tip and then you apply the neutralizer, after you remove, the lash perm, and then you apply the neutralizer, that's the shape they're going to take. So make sure you position them into the direction your client wishes the look to be, okay? Then you can apply your neutralizer. You leave it on for 5 minutes. And then after you've left it on for 5 minutes, take a dry Q-tip, remove it, the solution first. We like to remove first the dry, and then you can apply a cotton pad with some water, dampen it a little bit with some water, and you can remove the rest of the solution, or you can use the saline solution if you wish, just to make sure that there's no residue on there, because you're going to tint afterwards. So if you're going to tint, which we suggest do it, because you give them that total look, and it can also help fill in any of those gap areas, and like it's meant for hair, but that area would be solidified. It will be darker and be able to match the rest of the brow that has the hair. So always suggest that upsell that you should be doing a tint after a brow lamination. Even a lash lift, always tint afterwards, because the results are much more dramatic. After when you're tinting, 3 minutes. Usually for lashes, we say 2 minutes, but now you're working with more hairs. And so 3 minutes is just enough. Try not to expand it too much more, because the hairs have been processed. They're open. They will receive the tint well and immediately. So if you had to leave it maybe 4 minutes, sure, but try to be strict with the timing. After you've done that, you remove with a dry Q-tip the tint, then you apply then you take a wet cotton pad and you remove whatever is left from the tint, and then you're going to do the aftercare. The styling gel is amazing because it will give that perfect finish, that nice gloss, and it would also protect, hydrate, and seal in that treatment. And it's a good retail product to sell to your client and use it at home. As I mentioned early in the presentation, a brow lift won't last as long as a lash lift. Lash lift, I had one client that lasted for 8 weeks. You won't get that effect with the brow lamination. So I always have this styling gel when the 3.5 week mark hits and my brows are starting to get back to their original shape. I use this styling gel to still help them keep up, and then they can still look full. Okay, so that's what you've done. at the end for the aftercare. I just put a little picture in here just to see. She's got that fluffy brow and to see what her brow looked before. And her brow before, look at the hairs were kind of going in different directions. Even by the peak of the brow, the arch of the brow, you can see that it's just sticking the opposite way and maybe not resting down. But now that you've look at the other brow, how we position the hairs, you don't have that unevenness, okay? So to end this presentation, we want to see how the salon benefit. Well, with this brow lamination by RefectoCil service, your 8 brows are perfectly defined and set into the desired position for a lasting finish. And it's the perfect way to get those especially disruptive and stubborn eyebrow hairs back into tip-top shape and cover any gaps, as we mentioned, and give them that magic up look of or effect of a full dense eyebrow. We mentioned about the kits being 2-in-1, and you can generate valuable extra revenue with this new trend service and use the opportunity to increase your customer loyalty. Benefit for the customer, well, we already know they're going to get fuller, immediately they're going to get fuller looking and denser eyebrows, but the natural way. And this is by permanently shaping the hairs or semi-permanently shaping the hairs. And gaps can be filled in without any painful treatments such as microblading or permanent makeup effect. And as we mentioned earlier, it's very suitable for bushy, stubborn hair. Why should we want to believe into this system? Well, we know that, as we talked about in the beginning, RefectoCil is a long-standing brand with decades of expertise in brow and lash styling services, and they are the market, which will in turn make them the market leader in the sector. And they're always trying to keep up with the innovation and up with the trends as well. Okay, so a great loyal brand that you would want to invest in. Okay, that's the end of the presentation. We just put some little credentials here. Thank you for watching the presentation. As well, if you can follow us on RefectoCil North America, you can see the latest trends. You can see some before and afters that we do on Monday makeovers. I have a personal account as well with RefectoCil, and it's Browista by RefectoCil. Like us on RefectoCil North America. And this website, RefectoCil Education, try to make it on there occasionally, because we put all the webinars up there. We have little short video clips that you could use as well in your salon. It's going to be your site to further your education, or even to remind yourself if you weren't practicing these services as much and you want a little bit of a refresher. And if you have any questions, the email's down there. I can help you. I know Alexander Aesthetics will do an amazing job to assist you. If there's anything that might be out of their reach with technical, I can assist you as well. So we're going to, Wendy, do you want me to bring it back to you? Because I'm going to get the model to get ready on the bed. So you're going to see a disruption with the camera for under a minute, just so I have to switch the camera and bring it to a bird's eye view of my clients. So good, yeah. Wendy?
Yep, we're good. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect.
I'm going to just answer one question. A lot of people are asking if this is a state certified or approved class, and if they need certification. And we're just going to refer, since everyone is calling in from all over, you need to refer to your own state boards on what the regulations are for this procedure. We believe in the state of Colorado, it is not a state, what do they call it? State certified course. State certified course. And so you don't need to be certified in order to do this procedure. But again, just make sure you check with your state boards on their rules and regulations are around this procedure.
Okay, so I'm going to switch the camera here. I'm going to put on my mask in the meantime. I'll bring it back. Oh, me. You're going to have to go higher, but let me move this for you. And try and come. I think it's going underneath your neck. Ooh. Does that feel better? Okay. Okay, I'm just going to position this closer to you just to make sure. Okay, so let me get the camera.
And while we're letting Chrissy get set up here with her model, I'm going to put in the chat a couple links to where you can purchase this product. There's some questions about what you need. You'll see all the products that you need throughout the demo, but I'm just going to go ahead and put up a link to our website on where you would purchase the product. You don't have to purchase the entire kit for this procedure, the lash lift and lash curl kit. You just need a few of the products that you'll see throughout this presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and put that link up on the chat now.
And we might have to, how does the screen looks on your end, Wendy? Because I think my is still sharing. So I don't know if that's gonna cause.
We can see her, but it looks, we can see her forehead mainly. So it would be good if you could move it. I don't know if it's up or down for there. That's better.
Let me just see.
Let me see if I can I'm going to stop the presentation so that it makes your camera
Screen bigger, right? Yeah.
bigger. Actually, I think, how do we do that? Do you need to do that? Let me see.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. I can scroll it down on my end to make it bigger, but hopefully everyone can see it.
I think so. I think I just did, but uh-oh, and I might have to rest on your. I don't know what happened. Give me 1 second, Wendy. Just the ring light kind of lost its
Yeah, no problem.
hold.
Someone,
Hold on.
so on your, to everybody that's on today, on your screen, you can fiddle, if you're on a computer. I think it might be a little bit harder if you're on a phone, but on the computer, you can,
Okay, hold on, give me 1 second.
the screen size for the demo part, so you can see it a little bit better if the camera angle is small. You can go ahead and adjust that. There's should be some settings or way you can minimize your
Cam, I don't want to make people dizzy. I'm just going to take the camera off for a second.
Okay.
Because I don't want to make people dizzy. We just had a malfunction with the ring light. Sorry.
No problem.
So it's supposed to go in there, but there's missing a piece. Yeah, what happened? Hold on, let me unscrew this. Yeah.
And Chrissy, I know that you're busy getting the camera set up, but if you get a chance, you might want to see if you can only show the demo camera, because I think what's happening is the PowerPoint presentation is still up. It's taking half the screen.
Hi, Wendy. So what I'll do is I will stop sharing the presentation, and then we'll share it back on, right, for the ending.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'd be great.
So let me just get the camera now that we fixed it.
Thank you.
Whew, that was technical
We had one client, Evie, thank you for this. She said she's on her phone and she tapped the camera view picture to make it larger, so that seemed to help.
Okay, let me find the sharing and see if I can stop showing screen. That's what I want to do, right? for the presentation?
I believe so. Let's
Yeah.
try it and
When I
see
do
what,
that,
there we go. That's great.
yeah? Okay, awesome. And
Much
it looks clear for everybody?
Looks clear. You guys, I'm monitoring the questions, so go ahead and let us know. Oh, it looks great on my screen. I'm on the laptop.
Yeah, just let us know, let Wendy know so that she can let me know. I can see on my screen it looks clear, so that's good.
Yeah,
Sorry
people
about
are
that.
saying it looks good. Yep, we're good to go.
Perfect. I'm just getting my gloves on.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for the patience. Yes, I appreciate it. Sometimes I'm not a technical savvy. So.
No, you're good. I can't believe getting 2 cameras hooked into this is not easy.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So today, you can see with our model, we decided to use a model. As you can see, a lot of these Instagram posts are models that have a lot of hair. So we know that it's going to work for a model that has a lot of hair. But how about a model that's thinning her brows and wants to achieve that look as well? So we're going to, this is almost like a troubleshooting for yourself, because these are clients that you're going to want to come in, or they're going to be seeking this service, and you want to be able to know how to do it on these type of clients as well. So we'll have to start with the prep work. So I'm prepared, COVID ready as well, because the new norm is our masks and our gloves. I have my model with her mask as well. And now we can start with our prep work. I'm a little bit further away from the microphone, so hopefully everybody can still hear me properly. Is that good? Wendy, I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, so let's do the prep work. As I mentioned, we've got our wonderful eye makeup remover, our micellar eye makeup remover. I'm going to get my cotton swab, and I'm going to do the prep work. Even if they come in with no makeup, remember, there's environmental factors. There's pollution, there's sweat. We're in a hot season. They might have some leftover makeup, and they thought they might have cleaned it properly, but there's still some in there. So we want to still do the prep work. Oops, I shook the camera. Let me just clear it. 1 second, it got a little blurry. There we go. After we are done with the eye makeup remover, we want to use our saline solution. So this will now degrease and give you that security that your canvas is good and ready to go. So we've got our saline, same step, put in a cotton swab, and then you can do your cleaning. So now we know, after we did the saline, that this canvas is ready to go. It's going to receive those solutions properly and directly to the hairs, and nothing will impede it in it, or nothing will be a barrier to it. Same thing with your lashes. These steps are very important. After we've done that, we grab our spoolie, our wonderful two-sided brush. It's got the plastic spoolie, and I'm going to brush her brows just to see them, how they're separated, and if there's nothing else in there. Now, I don't have a plastic wrap with me, so we'll see how this will result without the plastic wrap. Me, when I'm looking at her brows, I see some hairs here that are doing that boy brow look. So they're going down a lot more, and I feel like this area will be where I will have a little bit more issues, but with the solution, it should be able to soften this because it's breaking down the bonds, where after they could all rest upwards, okay? Brush the other. Perfect. So we've done that. Now we're going to squeeze our solution. So we have our #1 solution. So all, just like if you've used the lash lift kits, the solutions are numbered 1 and 2 with your bowl #1 and your brush #1. Keep them separate so you don't intermix your brushes, and there's solution from #1, mixed solution #2. So I'm going to take my solution #1, my lash perm, my bowl #1, and I'm going to mix my pea size. My pea size obviously will be a little bit smaller. and then you mix it. So that's my solution. That should be perfect enough for both brows. So I just mix it a little bit, just blend it a little bit, and then I will start to apply. So I do it in nice soft patting actions, not too abrasive and not against like this. I just follow the brow. There will be some that goes on the skin, but I go afterwards and I remove it with a Q-tip. I don't let it linger too long. Make sure you cover all the hairs. So I'm dabbing it, make sure you get all your corners as well. And I'm just gonna put a little bit more in that section that I thought might give me some trouble. And I'm dabbing it as well, okay? So before I go to the next brow, I like to grab my Q-tip, and just because they can feel a little bit of a stinging, not stinging, like a tingling sensation. So you don't want it to rest on the skin too much. So I just go and I clean it. Then we go to the other side, same thing. Got some hair there. 1 second. There we go. So once again, you dab it on. Being very gentle. It's important to be gentle with the solution. Plus, because we're working so much more on the skin as opposed to just the lashes. So we don't want to do any abrasive actions. Also, we want to keep the integrity of the brow hair too. Okay, so I've done that like this. I've made sure I saturated it enough. As I mentioned, her brows are a little much less than maybe a fuller brow. So you would have to put more solution. Your piece size will be much more. Just gonna put a more dab on this section here. Perfect. And now I'm going to take my Q-tip, wipe that part off. If you ran out of solution, you're starting your timer now and you ran out of some solution, I would squeeze a little bit in, because remember how I said halfway through, I go back in just to brush them. And sometimes when you're brushing it, you might take off some of the solution. So I squeeze just a little bit in there if I don't have any left over. And that way, 4 minutes of my mark, I can go in there. So I set the timer for 8 minutes. If you have the wrap, you would have placed the plastic wrap already on there, nice and tight. You can either do 2, so you do them diagonally, or 1 tight one just like that. Her brows, don't think they need it. We're going to see the true test on that corner right there when we brush through it. So if there's any questions, I can answer them now as our timer is going on for 8 minutes.
Okay. All right, here is a couple questions for you. So here's kind of a long one, so I'm going to read it to you. In regards to, this is from Kelly Stang. In regards to tinting brows, I have several clients with pure white hair. I'm struggling to get the light brown color to deposit enough color, even when leaving it on for 10 minutes plus. So then I add dark brown, and the worry is it's going to be too harsh. How much developer should I be using? I'm concerned I'm possibly squeezing out too much or not putting enough color. So I keep adding, let's see here, and wasting so much each time.
Solution, yeah. So at the beginning of the sentence, Wendy, she said that she has those white hairs, right?
Yes.
Okay, so once the hairs are white, coarse, or that gray, white, coarse, and wiry effect, it's going to be really hard for those to grasp the color. No matter what you do, I have my mom who has that effect, and what I have to do is I have to bleach them first. Now the bleaching, I only do it as a pre-softening, so I don't need to leave it the times that you would do naturally to strip away color. All I want to do is pre-soften that gray white hair so that it will be more receptive. It will take that color. So without doing that, like you said, you're wasting product, you're leaving it in longer, but it's not, even if you were to go darker, if that hair doesn't want to pick the pigment, it's not going to pick the pigment. So you have to pre-soften it with the bleaching. And the ratio for that is same thing, 2 centimeters, like you would use in your tint, to 23 to 25 drops of the oxidant cream only. you use oxidant cream with the bleaching paste. So in the, Wendy, do you guys have the blonde brow?
We do, yes.
Perfect. So it's called blonde brow. The only thing that people get mixed up is that they think it's a lighter color for blonder hair. No, it's a bleaching paste. So it will strip away color. And you'll have amazing results after that. I can grasp, because the other thing is you don't want to start tweezing those hairs, because those hairs are there also to give the fullness of the brow. So if you start pulling all those grays out, it's not going to look nice. So pre-soften it with the bleaching paste.
Okay,
For
great.
3 minutes, sorry, 3 to 5 minutes, yeah. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, let us know if you need a follow-up. From Dinah, I think I'm saying her name correctly. Dinah asks, why is it called the soapy brow look?
Because, oh shoot, I just tripped over the camera. I am so sorry. I'll get that to stop shaking. Okay, so the soapy brow actually was a trend for a while now. If you like go to Sephora or Benefits Cosmetics, they have a product called Soapy Brow, and it's almost like a wax or a gel or something that will actually make your brow, it's because back in the day they used to use also soap. You can actually take residues off of a soap with your spoolie and put that soap onto your brow to hold it into place. So that's why they came with the idea of soapy brow, and because the look was a little bit more of a wild look when they did the soap, because the hairs were able to position in different directions and make the brow look fuller. So it's coming from a product that they used to use before that was called soap brow, that had that kind of texture of a pomade or something like that. Because I've tried it too back in the day, not too long ago. I took a spoolie and rubbed off some soap from my bar of soap and placed it on my brows to hold them into place. But now you don't have to do that. Also, the bar soap will make it very dry, and your skin too. So that's why they came with up to the idea of soapy brow. So hopefully that answers as well the question. Let me know, because I want to make sure I'm answering them properly. So
Great, yeah, I didn't know that, so it was good to learn.
Yeah. While you have another question, I'm just going back to my model because I'm at my 7 mark. 4 minute mark, my halfway, but you can still ask me questions, but just give me 1 second so I can just let them know
Let me
what
know
I'm
when you're
doing.
ready.
So I have my spoolie, and I'm just gonna go back in and just brush the hair. And now you can see that the hair is workable. It's staying up. That section there was not before. So can you guys see the difference? So now they have got that laminated look. So for the next 3 minutes, I'm gonna let it still process, but I'm gonna, remember how I said have a little bit of that solution in there? Because you wanna go back and just dab it again in those areas, because the spoolie will take most of it into its spoolie. Perfect, simple as that. If you have the plastic wrap, make sure that when you take it off, the skin will have some solution up there. So wipe it off so that it's not irritating them. And then do your brushing, then wipe it again, and then put your plastic back on. So I'm gonna wipe that portion on this side, so it's not on her skin. Perfect. And I do the same thing on the other side. So now, Wendy, you can ask me a question while I'm doing the other side.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have a few questions about waxing, sugaring, or threading. So hair removal, either before or after the service, and what you would recommend.
So it's very important that your waxing is the last thing. Your shaping is the last thing you do on the brows. First is your brow lamination. Second is your tint. Third is your shaping. The reason why you wouldn't want to shape before is that you will leave pores open, and they will have much more higher allergic reaction or redness, because the pores are open and the wax going to, the tint is going to go into the skin, the solution. Just imagine a lash perm solution going into those open pores. So it's going to be very stingy feeling. Also, if you wax before then you do this service, the tint will rest in those open pores, and in areas where you don't want tint, you will have spots. So, and then third is, when you tint first before you shape, you get to see the full scope of the brow, and you can shape it. If there's some lighter hairs, you can see the full brow and shape it accordingly. So leave your shaping towards the end.
Okay, great. How much time do you have?
I have another minute. Less than a minute, but I can answer. Go ahead.
All right. A lot of questions about what you charge for this service. So that obviously depends on the area they're in, but just a ballpark.
Yes.
What we're charging.
So usually we say $70 to $90 for a lash lift and a brow lift on its own, right? You're not doing any shaping and you're not doing any tinting. So you can do a lift for brows and lashes and charge up to $90. We give a range because certain locations, certain demographics, it's too much, the 90, so we give them that range. As soon as you start tinting, we go from $90 to $125 when you start to tint and shape, because a shape is about 12 bucks, a brow tint is about 20 bucks. So you want to give them also almost like a $10 saving if they're doing the whole combo. And then I've heard, by my research, I've seen some people go up to about $200 for all of that together. But take into consideration, if you're in a location that is very high end and your customers are willing to pay that, sure. But take into consideration that it doesn't last as long as a lash lift would. So I would cap it off no more than $130, $140 if they were doing the whole 3 system of lift, tint, and shaping. So hopefully that kind of answers that pricing. I'm going to remove the solution and let me know if that answered the question.
Yep, that's great.
Perfect. So our time's up, but don't worry, we have 5 minutes for the neutralizer and then 3 minutes of the tint, so I will answer more questions. So we go back now to the brows with a dry Q-tip, and once again, very gentle. If you wanted to test it before and just see with your brush, because you can feel, especially if somebody has fuller brows and thicker brows, you can feel it on the brush that it's workable. It doesn't feel like a little bit more stiffer, right? And I don't know if you remember, but in that area here, do you remember that some of them, it almost V'd, some of them went down? They're not, they're staying up, and I haven't put the neutralizer yet. So I'm happy with that, right? Obviously with the tint, we're going to fill in a lot of that more spaced out and give it a little bit more depth. So let's remove with a dry Q-tip, soft, gentle movements. During this process, it's also good to ask your customer, when you apply the lash perm, it was good to ask them how they're feeling, just to ensure them that tingling sensation is all right. Feeling okay, Rula? Mm-hmm. Perfect. I'm kind of late in asking you, but you look calm. Okay, I will brush because if it's somebody's first time, they might feel that feeling is unusual and they might think it's not supposed to be felt, but a little that tingling sensation, you will feel it, because once again, we're touching skin. With the lashes, you only felt it if it got into the eye. Otherwise, you would never feel any tingling sensation. So I'm just gonna do that brush again. This brow on her side has more fuller brow. I don't know if you can tell, but she doesn't really have that much gap going on here. But we can equalize that more with the tint. I brushed them, I was happy with it. They're moving freely. And I remove the the step number 1, okay? So after I've done this, you can take back your brush, a new one with no solution in it. I'm just gonna use one that's a regular spoolie, but I'm gonna be very gentle because it's a little bit more abrasive. And you want to position it into the position you want it. So if you wanted that soapy look, you would kind of go, I'm not going to give her the soapy look. She doesn't have that much hair to work with to make it soapy. So I'm going to do the in-between fluffy. So I'm just going to brush them upwards along with the direction of her brow. So in between a lamination and a soapy. So it's just upwards. Okay, if it was more laminated, if there was more hair and it was laminated, you would be bringing it up, but then sideways and press down. Okay, so up and then sideways, press down. So this part is very important because if you left the brows how they were, say they weren't separated enough, and say they were intermixed, how you leave the brow is how it's going to take form. So it's very important that we do this brushing, okay? And towards the end, see when they're laminated, if somebody had a lot more hair, obviously towards the end, you might need to do some trimming, even maybe with hers a little bit here, a little longer pieces, you can trim so that it gives a little bit more of an equal length. Okay, so we've got that all brushed down. Sorry. We're going to now take our neutralizer. So step number 2, our tube number 2 in our bowl number 2. And then you also have a brush number 2. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we're going to apply now the neutralizer. The neutralizer is more of a creamy look. The lash perm was more of a little bit translucent with a little bit of, it turns a little bit pinky when it oxidizes. So same way you're going to apply, okay? Nice dab, be generous because now, and try to brush it the same way as the hairs that you brushed it, right? Don't start going against because you're disrupting the position that you put the hairs into. So put your neutralizer on, be a little bit more generous because it's just 5 minutes and we want it to give that form. Now I will not go in it in this step. I don't want to go in it and disrupt the hairs or brush the hairs because I want it to take the form. I will do that at the end when I'm done. So you can see already it's a much easier service than you would say lashes, because lashes, you got to get those individually, nicely rested on the pad. So it's a little bit faster. Today it's a little bit slower because we are teaching, like you should be able to do this in 45 minutes of tinting, shaping it, and doing the lift. Okay, so I will start. The neutralizers, they don't feel a stinging sensation, but still, I won't want it to rest on the skin. So I'm going to wipe it off of the skin area. I'm just making sure I fill any areas that feel didn't have enough of the solution. Perfect.
Chrissy, are you available for questions?
Yep. Ask me questions. I'm going to clean it out with a Q-tip, but you can ask me questions. Yes.
Okay. A lot of questions are coming in about how long this service lasts and when you would recommend someone coming back in.
Perfect. Okay, let me just set my timer for 5 minutes. It's already set on. Perfect. Okay, so what would I recommend how long it lasts? So we say roughly 3 to 4 weeks. I've seen it in the 3-week mark. My brows are a little bit more unruly. If you had more workable brows, maybe it could last that 4 weeks, but they say only a couple of weeks. And I've seen on myself 3 weeks, they start to want to take back to the form, to their original form. Now, like they will fall downwards. So I don't like to do it every 3 weeks because I feel for me that's too much of a processing time. I want my brows as well to have a little bit of a break in between. And also I use the castor oil as well, and in the daytime the styling gel to condition and have my hair to be able to keep the service on several times. Now, the more time you do this service on your brows, the more relaxed the hair gets, and then it becomes more workable to where you probably can have it last a little bit longer than 3 weeks because the hair has now been relaxed so often. So say at the beginning, just let your customer know it won't last as long as 6 weeks as a lash lift. That's why you have to take into consideration of the pricing. It will last about 3 weeks, but here's a styling gel that you can sell them to help them after that 3-week mark, kind of keep them still going a little bit before their 4 to 5 week next returning date to come in. Once again, I wanted to leave it a month, like meaning if it lasts 3 weeks, I don't want them to come back in that 3 weeks, maybe 4 to 5 weeks. Does that make sense to come back in? Because you don't want to be over processing their brows.
Yep.
Hopefully that made sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Thank you. All right, another question about if you're incorporating a facial with this service, when would you do the facial, before or after?
So what I have suggested, even with tinting, is when you're doing a facial, and you, first of all, you don't want to do it before, because the areas that you're working on the skin, maybe with what do you call it? Scrub, sorry, a scrub. When you're doing an exfoliation, it might be too sensitive for the solution when it touches the skin. So I would perform all the parts of the components of a facial, but then at the end, when you apply a mask on, that brow area, leaving it exposed, is free to do this service. So how long you leave a mask on? Have you left it 10 minutes? You leave it 15 minutes? That's enough time to put both the solutions on, and then maybe leave the tint after you wipe off the mask, put the tint, and then do your whole moisturizing at the end.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's how I would do it, because like you said, that some people do facials that they do more exfoliants or they do more extractions. If they're going to do some extractions around the brow area, or who knows, or you don't want it to be a sensitive area for the solution.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a client that would like to know if your client that's doing the demo, first of all, thank you to your client. What, and I didn't get her name.
Thank you, Rula. Rula.
Rula, thank you, Rula. Rula, are you feeling any tingling?
I did very, just a slight tingling at the beginning.
Beginning, right?
Nothing, yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if you heard that. She said she felt a slight tingling at the beginning, which is normal. The lash perm solution, number one, will give that tingling effect. The neutralizer is cooling. It doesn't do any of that effect. But still, I don't like to leave it lingering on the skin, because it's not meant for skin. So explain that to your customer at the beginning before you put on the lash perm. Let them know slight tingling sensation will happen. But very important, which we didn't mention, is that during your consultation part, your client should actually be coming, if this is a new service too, your client should be coming in 48 hours before the service, where you do a consultation with them, they fill out a consent form, and you do a patch test. The patch test will be your lash perm and your neutralizer in two different areas in the inner forearm or behind the ear. So this is very important, because people react during different times. Some can react in an hour, some can take 24 hours until they see a reaction. So at least you know that in your bed, when your client lays down, you're not going to have an adverse reaction and find out while they're in bed with the solution and it's burnt their skin. The only thing you'll know is that they are going to have a little bit of tingling sensation, but you already did the patch test. They already felt what the tingling felt like, and they're good to go. Certain medication too to be aware of. If they're taking certain medication for hair loss, whether it be hair loss on their head, hair loss in their brows, their lashes, there's a condition called matarosis, and usually they take medication from that because it's a systemic disease, and that makes the skin extremely sensitive. So we're to the point where I had one student tell me that her client got burnt through the skin with a tint. So I would not do any service on somebody that is taking some kind of medication. I would, if they want to do patch tests on their forearm or in your ear, sure. Oh, camera just shut. But let me put that back to normal. But understanding your client's history and getting that time, that one-on-one time, not during the service, because the service is meant to be quick and fast, and you don't want to go through really fast your consultation, because that's how you get to know your client's health condition as well. Let me just fix this camera so it's not making you guys blurry. It's hard with the gloves on. There we go. Yes. So Wendy, was that good? For your client, for your customer? Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Do we have
more
time?
I have about 10 seconds, but if you throw the question to me while I'm going there to clean the brows. Yeah.
Can you quickly show what the tubes are that you used for the step 2? Because
Yes,
people are
yes.
something together, or if it's just straight from the tube.
So that's the tube. Number 1, lash perm. So they're from the Lash Lift and Curl kit. And then step number 2. Oh, that one's a little blurry.
And also, just to clarify, I did put the link up. you can buy those separately. You don't have to buy the full kit.
Yes, sorry, it's a little, oh, there we go.
There it is, yeah.
Neutralizer. It's neutralizer, and the other one said lash from. Yes, all the components in the kits come as open stock. So you can have your one kit. It's always good if this is maybe your first time to add on these services to your menu of a lift, a lash lift, and a brow lift. Get the kit first because you have the components in there, meaning just the lift components. You have to get your eye makeup remover separately and the saline solution separately and the styling gel separately. But once you have that kit and you have all your components in there, then you can just start replacing. If it's for the lash lift, the glue, then the tubes, obviously you're gonna go a little bit faster because you're working it on both lashes and brows. So I'm gonna remove, if there's another question, go ahead, throw it at me. I'm just gonna remove with a dry Q-tip, the solution.
Okay, we're getting a couple questions about clients that have been microbladed.
Yes.
Obviously, if this can be done on those clients or what the impact is.
Okay, so if that client has microblading done or makeup, permanent makeup, if they still have hairs, adequate hairs, some people like not too patchy, but if they still have some hairs in the background, they can still get those laminated to the point that it will make them look thicker, so that if that microblading is fading, or if that microblading looks a little bit too abrupt or splotchy, the brow lamination on the natural brows can give it more of a uniform. So you can do it as long as there's hair to work with. And then you can tint. You can tint over, because some makeup, permanent makeup or brow lamination shouldn't happen this, but some permanent makeup, the hue of the tint starts to turn green. So I had a client, what I do is I do a brow lamination and then I tint, and that green hue of the permanent makeup doesn't show as much. But yes, you can, as long as there's hair. And just don't do it as if they have just freshly done. No, because in 6 months, first of all, they have to go for a retouch up. But also during that month or so, they're doing treatments at home with antibiotics, because with the microblading, there's cuts in the skin. So I wouldn't even do it. I would wait 2 to 3 months or before I touch somebody who's microbladed, freshly microbladed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then just to clarify on the pricing question, so yes, the pricing from 70 to 90 is for either a lash lift or a brow lift, not both in one service.
No, not both.
Right.
Not both.
Okay. So it'd be 70 to 90 for either a lash lift or a brow lamination.
Exactly. Now, if they're going to start to bring them all in together, they want to do the whole complete service. So potentially on your brow bar menu, you'll have a tint price for lashes, a tint price for brows, a tint price for a combo pricing for brows and lashes tinting. Then you'll have a lift for brows, a lift for lashes, a combo for lift and tint for lashes, a combo for lift and tint for brows. But then you can essentially have a combo, which maybe might be, I haven't priced it out, but maybe it could be about, you will be going over the $200 mark, where it's the whole thing. You're going to lift the lashes, you're going to tint the lashes, you're going to lift the brows, you're going to tint the brows, and then you're going to do a shaping. So if you separate the prices of each of those services that you've put on your menu, put them all together, the price of each service, give them a certain amount of discount. Like we said, we say about $10, and because the pricing is a little bit more, it's going to be over $200, maybe a $15 discount or so forth. And that is an upsell, because if they were just coming in just for a lash lift and tint, well, now you're doing a brow lift and tint and shaping, and they've got that. You made essentially more money because you've upselled.
Okay, wonderful. Chrissy, can you talk to the solutions that you just showed and how long they stay good once the tube is open?
Yep, perfect. So the lash perm solution and the neutralizer, they have, we're gonna put them right here. So once you've opened them, they last 2 months. If you're using the kit with the glue for the lashes, 3 months. But on the back side, if you don't open them, you won't be able to see on the camera. I'm just gonna show you this part right here. On this part here, on that ribbed part, there's a date. So this one says 02/22. So if I didn't open this tube, oh, you can see it. There we go. Good old camera. If you don't open this, it can last up until February 2022. But once you've opened it, it is only 2 months. So they go by pretty quick. And what we suggest too for people when I teach is mark on the tube when you've opened it, because 2 months can go by pretty quick. And you wouldn't want to use a solution that's expired and spend that 45 minutes and then you see that you don't have an outcome. I'm just going to get prepped while you get the next question. I'm going to get prepped the tinting. And
Great.
I just wanted to show this little, I don't know if it's going to show on the camera. Oh, sorry, without hitting Rula. It's this little ring palette like this. It's a ring palette. Not a ring palette, a wrist palette. You put it on the palm, like on your knuckles of your fingers. I don't know if it's going to show on my knuckles. It's really hard because the camera's so close. And it rests on there and my hands are free. Like before our palette, you had to hold it in your hand. Now we have a ring one or we have this wrist one. I like the wrist one because it stays nice and snug. And I can put the tint in there, mix it, and use my hands free to tint her brows. And it doesn't drip out of the container either. So let me mix for her brows. I'm going to do the natural brown on her. Rula, do you want them in a medium kind of darkness, like not too dark, but a little bit dark? Okay, so I'll do 3 minutes on your brows and take it off and see how it looks. And then if we leave it longer, if I feel it's not darker, we'll leave it longer. So I'd like to ask my client what range of darkness they want, because last thing you want is your client to freak out. I've had people call me and say it's too dark for them, I can't get it off of their hairs, and they're sitting there frictioning the hair back and forth with water or whatever other products they can find because they didn't have on hand a tint remover. So have on hand a tint remover, but very important as well that you talk with your client and see what this type of a shade that they want, how dark of a degree they want their brows to look like, because that will play a factor in your timing as well, okay? The less darker they want it, obviously the less time you leave it on. So I'm not going to fill full 2 centimeters. Once again, it's really hard to show on the camera, but there's a line in there. If you can see there's a line in the tube there in the containers, thanks Rula. And that line means 2 centimeters, but I only went half the line.
Chrissy, hey,
yes.
Chrissy, can I interrupt real quick? That was kind of blurry, so can you?
Oh shoot, sorry. Okay.
That maybe a little bit further. There you go.
See that line in the middle?
The line
in the bowl.
Uh-huh.
Look at the other side where there's no tint. There's a little line. Hold on. Oh shoot, I just shook it. Give me 1 second. Right there. In here, there's a line.
Uh-huh. Okay.
That line means 2 centimeters of tint. So you squeeze your tint, that whole line, you have 2 centimeters. But with Rula, because her brows are less, I'm just going to move it out because my hand's shaking, sorry. Because Rula's brows are not as dense, the hairs, I only did 1 centimeter. So I only covered half of that line. So this little palette is good for people who might kind of have trouble with their ratios. So if I'm doing 2 centimeters, it's 10 drops of liquid oxidant or 15 drops of cream. I'm going to use cream, but because I did 1 centimeter, half of 15 is 7.5, I can't do that. I'm going to put 8 drops or 7, depending if the consistency is too watery. But you cut down half. Your liquid would be 5. Okay? So I'm just going to grab my oxidant. I'm going to mix. So my oxidant, I'll show you in the picture here. The purple colored one, the purple one like this. It's going to be hard. The bottle's big. Oh, the bottle's too big. Oh, maybe like that. There we go.
That's good. Yeah.
That's our cream. Both cream and liquid are the same. They do the same exact thing. It's just preference-wise in the consistency and the feel of it. I do a lot of demonstrations where the person's sitting up. If I'm doing beard tintings or I'm doing any bleach, I'm going to be using the cream. So I tend to use mostly the cream, but I can equally do the liquid and get the same results. Sorry, I just need to drink some water. Just got a little bit of a cough. Dry air. Okay, so let me mix my 8 drops of my oxidant. I'll show you the texture when I mixed it, just the kind of consistency you want to have. You don't want it to be too watery, because you also want it to stick nicely onto the brows when you're brushing it on.
And Chrissy, if you had bleached before or used the blonde prior to doing the tint, would you leave it on less?
Yes, if you're doing a bleaching and then you're going to do the tinting, you only leave the tint on for a minute. It will grasp the color very fast. So, excuse me, during that 1 minute, I like to remove it in 30 seconds just to see what it's grasped. It's not too dark for my customer, and I still have some leftover tint. I can go back in, but trying to leave it longer because it will pick the pigment very, very quick. Rula, put your head straight again. Yeah, thank you. Go a little bit this side. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so the consistency. Oh, wait, maybe don't move your head. Let's see if I can do it. Yes, the consistency is nice and creamy. It's a little bit blurry, but you can see that it's creamy. It's not watery because even if I tilt my ring upside down, it stays in there. And I just did the brown. If she had some cooler blondes, I would mix a graphite. I love the graphite. I love using it mixing it with the brown for those cooler shades of blonde. So I'm going to start to apply it. Now, another thing you can do, which I can show on the other brow, is here's now where you can apply protection cream. Because you've had the tint rest on, not the tint, the brow lamination on the skin. You don't want to have too much staining. I'm pretty precise, but putting the protection cream will help to avoid any unnecessary staining. So I'm going to apply it on this, and I can show you the protection cream. Now, if your customer was also warm undertone, then you would automatically add graphite regardless if they had blonde highlights or not, because our browns have a very warm undertone. So if your client has a warm undertone, it will turn more chestnutty red than brown. So we leave it on for 3 minutes. I'm going to show you the protection cream, and then I'll know that the other brow I have to remove. But our protection cream is this green one. Okay. And it works 3-in-1. It's a protection cream to protect from staining. It's an eye mask treatment. Oops, blurry. So when you are doing a lash lift, you can use this underneath your papers to give them an eye mask treatment, and they will love that. During that 10-15 minutes they're laying there. As well, it works as a massage cream. What the manufacturer really likes to do, taught us to do, is after you're done any service on the brows or the lashes, end it with a nice little massage around their temple area, around their forehead, their eye, their occipital bones. Do a little bit of a tapotement movement, some more longer strokes of drainage movements, lymphatic drainage movements, and they will be coming back every time. So nobody does that. Usually ends with a massage on the temple area, the brow area, and the eye area. So let me show you the protection cream. What I would do, I would squeeze out a little bit onto my hand. And basically I take a Q-tip or any other method of a brush that you have, and I would just go, but you see, I went and I cleaned the skin area, so I'm pretty good with not staining, but also make sure you don't touch that hair. And you just spread that cream around the brow area. Just so you can avoid any unnecessary staining and sitting having to rub your client's skin. Okay, so I only have 1 minute left of the other brow. So I'm going to apply this brow on, and then I'm going to remove the other side of the brow. If you have any questions, Wendy,
Yeah.
I can answer them. Yeah.
Okay, real quick, can you just review what colors you used for this?
Oh, for Rula, I just did the brown, the natural brown on her. She does have darker hair, but I see that she has a little bit of some warm color in it too, like a little bit of a lighter brownishy red. Was that just your like your natural hair color, or there was, okay, so she had a little bit, so I went towards that. If it was completely black and then she had a warm skin tone and she really wanted the brown to look brown and not reddish, I would put equal parts of the graphite in here. But right now it's just natural brown.
Natural brown. Okay.
Number 3, natural brown. Yes.
Got it. And can you talk to why you would choose the cream developer over the liquid developer, or why you chose that in this service?
So as I mentioned, it becomes more preference-wise what people want to use when it comes to liquid or oxid. Because I do a lot of demos on beers and I do a lot of demos on bleaching, I've become more what's the word called? Not acquainted, but I become more comfortable just using the cream. But because you can't use the liquid for the bleaching, and for the beard, you want it to stay on the beard, so you don't want it to be too creamy. So I'm just used to it. I pick it up, and also in the brow bar, the Lash and Brow Bar, if you buy it, it's this stand that has all your colors in it, and your oxide, and your remover, and your eye makeup, and your protection cream. That in there comes the cream. So in my stand right now, I have the cream, but I can equally use as I mentioned before, the liquid and get the same results. Just for bleaching, you can't. So hopefully it just becomes preference at the end. People, what they feel the texture is easy for them to work with and move along with. Yeah.
Okay, great. And do you ever get males asking for this service?
Oh, yes. Okay, so at the trade shows, you will have even males looking for, recently in the end of 2019, I had males looking for a curl on their lashes. Not a tint, but on their brows, they will tint as well, because if they have any grays or discolored, like their brows are not completely uniform with one color, they will get this done as well. Because even for a male, it can give them a youthful look in the right tone and the right service, right? You're not too over feminine. You wouldn't do a lift, but you can do a curl just to open up the eyes, and a tint. A lot of requests I'm getting, and even at trade shows, I get lineups of men lining up to get a beard tinting. So obviously you're going to go through a lot more tint with the beard tinting, but it's fun. If you're not in the hair industry and you kind of want to feel a little bit like a hairstylist, doing a beard tinting kind of helps. And giving them a lot of the beards, they have a very 3 different colors in their beards. Like they have a lot of reddish, and sometimes they'll have some brown and black, and it's not uniform, which can sometimes age them. They like to get that uniform look, but the Just for Men products sometimes are too sensitive for them, so they're looking for an alternative. So they'll come and get this service done because it's more milder than RefectoCil.
Okay, great, thank you.
So
I just put it over to every. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to quickly say what I just did right now. So I just removed you can see how much nicer depth and darker her brows are just with the brown. And she's a cool tone, so it didn't come out warm. And I just removed it with a dry Q-tip, and now I'm just going to get my water and a wet cotton pad just to clean off that rest of the residue. I don't need any tint remover because I was really careful for the skin. Go ahead, Wendy. Yes.
You're very good at multitasking, Chrissy.
Oh, I hope I'm answering everything.
No, you are. We have a lot of questions, so thank you. Let me know if you don't want me to ask any.
No, ask. I'm happy there's questions. Yes.
Thank you. All right, I just chatted over from our RefectoCil rep, who's in Florida, from Renee, what the price goes for this service. So I just chatted that over to the whole audience because she had chatted or put that in the question. So you guys have that there.
Yes.
We have a question about brow implants, and our customer Christina has a client that has brow implants that are super unruly and don't lie down like natural brows.
So when you're saying brow implants, are they doing the extensions, or this is more of a medical service that they've done to implant hairs?
Yeah, Christina, if you could just answer that. Unfortunately, she can chat it to me. So hopefully she's still on.
Because I know they have brow extensions. I don't know if you've seen that, but the same thing that you can do for your lashes, you can glue them onto your brows and make them thicker.
Oh, she says it's a medical.
Medical.
It's a medical
Okay.
one, yeah.
If it's medical, it is a fiber they're implanting, or are they, I haven't really researched. The reason why I'm asking this is because if they are doing something inside where they're implanting for the hair to help grow and boost, like they have these blood resurfacing things that they can do and help the hair to boost, then it's a natural hair. Are they doing anything different where the hair is not natural that comes out? It's like a fiber? Because I don't know if you can manipulate it. But if it's a natural hair that they boost with some kind of medical treatment or implantation of blood cells or something like that, then yes, it's a natural hair and you can use a service on it to manipulate that bond in the hair. So I wouldn't know. I could obviously try and research with a
She says it's hair
physician.
grafted from her head.
Okay, so it's actual hair grafted. The other technical question I'm going to ask is, does that graft form a root afterwards? Because once again, if it doesn't, then I don't know if those bonds can be able to be broken down. Kind of wish I knew the answer to that, because that sounds very, it's
She
very
said, yeah,
chemistry, like it's not, yeah,
she's,
medical or.
Christina says yes. So it must, about forming the root.
So it does form a root, right?
Yes.
And eventually that hair just grows and comes back as you, like when that hair falls out, it will grow back again in that area that they've grafted it in.
Don't know. Let's see what she says.
Okay.
Sorry.
There's a lot of questions to ask for that. Because if that's the case, then yes, it has become a root with hair, with bonds in it, that it should be able to be formulated and coerce the hair.
Okay.
Now, another thing that can
It
be
forms
asked.
the root and grows quickly.
Okay, so it should work, but what I would suggest is they should speak with the physician and see that it's all right to get a brow lamination done. And that way the physician can approve it if you want to be more secure in touching somebody who has had this grafted. Also to find out in how much time, because it's a little bit invasive, right? If they're grafting it, there's an invasive procedure. So how long do you have to wait to get this done? So unfortunately, I don't have answers for that, but oh my, if she gets answers for this for you, I would love to know the answers as well, because I've just asked so many different questions, but if she gets a final answer from a physician, this is actually really good to know, because as she mentioned, that hair is a little bit unruly, right? So
Okay. No,
sorry, I
that's
didn't
great.
give a really accurate answer, but if it's, like I said, if it's got a root and it will start to be growing like a natural hair, like natural hair and consistent, like it comes out, but it grows, then that hair should be able to break down its bonds and coerce the hair in its position, or even relax it. You should be able to relax it.
Okay, great. She says great, thank you. So I think
You're welcome.
we can do follow-up ones.
We're always learning.
All right. Are you available for more questions?
Yep. I'm just removing again dry Q-tip. So yep, we can ask.
Okay. How far in advance would you eliminate retinol and other anti-aging creams?
So I believe it has to be over 2 months that they've stopped using it. So they have to completely have stopped using it in order for you to do any of these services on them with their retinols or AHPs. Sometimes they take medication as well. They have to have completed it and then give another 2 or so months before you can actually start doing the services. And patch test, you're still going to do a patch test no matter what, because you never really know if they were truthful in how much time they did their last dosage or treatment. So I would always do a patch test mandatory on those clients, even if they were past clients.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
What about if a client uses lash or eyebrow growth serums? Are there any adverse reactions?
So there's no adverse reactions, but what I've noticed, and I didn't message the manufacturer, and they said there shouldn't be any issues. I noticed people who do take growth serums on their lashes, the lift was a little bit harder to get results, but they said it shouldn't affect their results. You won't have any reactions. It's just that the lift, to me, I saw that it wasn't as lifted. So if you notice that maybe the ingredients, maybe they're doing like a lattice, maybe that could affect, but they said our growth serum, our RefectoCil Lash and Brow Booster, if they're using it, it's fine. You should still be able to get results. So we should be okay with that. And you shouldn't feel any adverse reactions. You shouldn't, because you're using it the night before and then the next day you're getting a treatment done. So you're fine.
Okay, great. And how many services can you get from the steps 1 and 2, the lamination?
So in your kit, if you were to get the kit and there's 2 sets of each, I believe they told me it was the kit, that you can do about 7 or 8. Because I could already see after doing 3 brow lifts that I've done in the past 2 weeks, half of my tube is gone. So I can potentially get, I had really thick brows too. If I had maybe like poor Rula type of brows, I could probably make it 10. But I had really thick, bushy, and half of my tube's already gone. So they stay between 7 and 8 lifts, brow lifts. With the lashes, you're using less, right? So you can make up to, I would say 25 to 30. That 36 varies because some people's lashes are layered, thicker, so you don't always get 30 to 36 applications, right? But for the brows, they said 7 to 8 with those 2 tubes, 2 sets of tubes. 1 set of those tubes in the kit. So potentially, let me clarify that again, because they did tell me 7 or 8 in the kit, but if I've used half of it and I've done 3 and I can do another 6, that's only 1 set of tubes. So that means I can do 12. So maybe that is 7 to 8 of 1 set of tubes. You can probably do 14 to 16 in the kit.
For the, okay, got it, because there's 2.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, because there's 2 sets
great.
of tubes. Yes, little okay, so.
Okay.
We did rule us. I can still answer more questions. I'm just going to show the end result. But if we look to your hair like that, look how much more thicker her brows look than what she had before. I'm sure
Yeah, they
Rula
look great.
will be shocked as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end it now with my. I'm just going to do a little bit. Clean out the side here so they don't have any tint. Perfect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end my service with my styling gel. Don't forget that. Very important. Whether you're doing, oh, hold on. There we go. Styling gel. Whether you're doing a lift, a tint on lashes or brows, you want to end the service with this and explain to them what it's doing because they will love it as a retail item. I use this. Before the brow lamination came out, my brows are so unruly, and if I wanted to fill them in, they were going all different directions. I would use this to calm down my hairs and then be able to fill them out nicely as like a primer, and it softened them. So it's many usages, many ways they can use this. So right now what we're doing is we're hydrating, we're moisturizing, and then we're also protecting and sealing in that service. So I'm going to take a disposable mascara wand as we don't want to double dip. So I'm just going to squeeze out some solution. Sorry that you can't see all this. It's just really hard with the camera, but I'm just squeezing out some solution onto my disposable mascara wand, and I'm just going to brush it on. Just going to squeeze some more. So I'm also sealing in that tint. And that's the thing, in the summer season, if someone is a swimmer, the tints won't last as long. So every morning, if they can put this on their brows, it can seal in that service. Okay. Another thing that, so after you were done doing all this, if you have to shape, don't put the styling gel on. Shape first and then put the styling gel. It should be the last thing. So if you had to shape and do a nice little wax down here, if you have to trim a little bit, I'm gonna let Rula see her brows and see if she wants me to trim maybe some little longer ones in the corner here. I don't know if you can see if she turns. It's a little blurry, sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry. I'm gonna take my glove off. Still blurry. Oh, there we go. So if we needed to like trim a little bit here just to give it a nice crisp finish, I'm gonna let her see it. Right now she has a nice fluffy brow. You can put your head straight again, right? But I do see one hair there that I want to pluck, just a little one stray hair that just came to say hello. I want to take that one off because then you can see it in the camera that totally, that one little hair there does not give you that uniform brow look. So I would just pluck that and she's perfect to go. So that's the brow lamination. I can go back to answering questions, and I can, if you potentially want me to switch the camera back, I can do that as
Okay.
well. So yeah, and I can answer some
Yeah.
questions. I'm just going to switch
Let's
the
do
camera
that.
and let my model get up because she might want to move a little bit around.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
bet.
going
Thank
to,
you so much.
thank you, Rula.
Yeah, thank you, Rula. Your brows look great. We have a before and after that we'll share.
Yes, yeah, that will look amazing.
So
Okay,
really
so
quick, while you're switching this around, I just want to address some questions that have been asked about getting a certificate that we've attended the webinar. Because there's so many different state rules about this, we don't issue certificates for webinars because it's more of an information session. It's not like a full training class. But you will receive at the end, you will receive a email from GoToWebinar saying that you have successfully attended this webinar, and you can use that for your any purposes that you may need. Yeah, over to display. So just to answer some of the questions that came through on that.
one second. I'm just switching.
You're good.
Sure. Great. Okay. Yeah, you can come back after and I'll trim them for you. Yeah, so we're just see, I let her see it first. I always involve your client. I let her see her brows so that we can see she wants them trimmed a little bit, and she says she wants them trimmed just a little bit. So we're gonna get that done after. Okay, so I heard you talking about the certificate, so they will get one afterwards, emailed to them, right? You're gonna we're gonna email it to them?
No, what we said is they'll get an email from GoToWebinar that says that they've attended the class.
Okay.
But we're not going to do formal certificates because there's so many different rules and about different
There is.
the
And your
different laws. And
guidelines,
this isn't
yeah.
a formal class; it's a information session with a demo. So we won't be issuing certificates, but they will receive an email saying that it has been that they've attended the webinar.
Yes, perfect, perfect. Okay.
All right. So if everyone has time, we can stay on and answer questions. We still have quite a few people on. So we've popped back on to, let's see. So some questions just in general about RefectoCil. We have, Denise had asked that she's trained with another company that recommend that she only use the RefectoCil formula that's PPD free for brow lamination. Can you talk to give your thoughts on that?
So she said, sorry, repeat that question again. She says that they use a.
She said she trained with another company and that company had recommended to only use the PPD free formula from RefectoCil. So I'm assuming that's the sensitive line.
So they do say from Austria, like the manufacturer, that it is PPD free. So phenylene diamine free. So regardless if you use the the original one, also because you're mixing it with an oxidant and activating it, that could also cause some irritation. So that's why we have a second option, the sensitive, which doesn't open up the hair follicle. It doesn't deposit the hair into the hair follicle. So it's all topical. So there's no opening, there's no sensitivities in a sense that could be created. And that's why we suggest a sensitive. It's really good for people who are pregnant as well. And also if you're an organic type of a spa, you would want to use because it's plant-based, right? And there's no mixing. So if you do a patch, we don't really get a lot of people who are allergic to the original. So if you do the patch test and they're not allergic to the original and it's PPD free, they should be okay. But you have that option of the sensitive as well. And the sensitive does a lot more staining. So the pigment is much more darker. And so if you want to make it thicker, the brow, you can do the sensitive. You can do underneath the original and on top the sensitive to make it thicker. And then when the sensitive fades, because it doesn't penetrate into the hair follicle, it's topical, it'll fade faster. Underneath, your brows are still darker with the original. So hopefully that, I went a little bit extra with answering, but hopefully that answered it all together.
That's great. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Can you explain a little bit on the difference between the two kits, between the lift kit and the curl kit?
Sure, yes. So let me go grab my curl kit that I have here. So the two systems, and I'll give you the reason why I always suggest to have both systems, because that way you're more versatile and you can reach a lot of more clients or diversity, like more diverse. So in the lift kit, we know already by the name lift, you have these silicone pads with a bump. So with the lift, what you're doing is exactly the name. You're lifting the lashes up, or even the brows, as we saw now, but you're not using the pads. But you're lifting the lashes up to an L shape so that you give that illusion of extensions, so length. With the curl, it has rollers. I'm going to choose a bigger size so you can see them. It has these cotton rollers. These cotton rollers have a pre-adhesive on them, and this pre-adhesive allows it for you to stick the lashes on it. But because it's a roller, you're not achieving an L shape. You're not achieving length. Because to half the circumference of the roller, you will achieve a shape, so a C curl. So that's the difference between the two systems, and as well the glues. So the solutions are the same, but the glue for the lift is clear, and the glue for the curl is white. You use very, very less of the curl glue because your adhesive is already on the rollers. Be very less with this and be very do it in spot sections and very little on the tip of your orange wood stick to apply it, because you will have a hard time to remove it because it doesn't dissolve as fast as the lift. So the lift, if you're new and you want to know, well, Chrissy, I don't like, this is the question we get at trade shows. Well, which one, or Wendy, which one do I have to buy first? I have to get both systems. I don't know. So to be honest with your client, and if you don't want to overwhelm them with all these services, especially since they haven't advertised it, that takes time, and putting it on their menu, I always suggest to them, do the lash lift first. The craze for the lash lift is always like, it's intense. People want that look of lash extensions. So your lash lift will be what you need to purchase first. Then when you get comfortable with that and you've been advertising and you've brought in your clientele, then you can start advertising of a shape with the curl, and to your male clientele, or to those, like for myself, my lashes are really long. If I do a lift, they're just going to look really unrealistically long, reaching to my brows. I don't want that look. So I would do a curl. I like to give my lashes more of a shape, and your male clientele would want that shape just to open and refresh their eye area. So that's why eventually I would start to bring either the whole kit just to have it as a kit, or start to bringing in these different sizes, which is small, medium, large, and extra large are the rollers, and the white glue. In the lift, it's small, medium, and large of the silicone pads. And I'm hoping COVID set back a lot of companies, and one of the things that set back was getting an extra small silicone pad. I've been requesting this for over a year because some of the really, really short COVID the size small pad is too big. So they need an extra small, and they said they were going to work onto that. So I'm hoping sometime soon. COVID once again set back their plans, but that's how you distinguish the both different systems. So hopefully that gave you an idea, and that eventually you might want to bring on the curl as well.
Okay, great. So there's some questions about if they don't want to buy the kit, what are the products that they would purchase, just for the brow lamination? So I don't know if you have them right next to you, if you could just like show each step kind of thing.
So if they're not going to buy a kit and they're just going to buy it individually, if they don't already have the tinting system, if they already have the tinting system, that they would already have the eye makeup remover. If they don't, I would suggest they get this. It's an amazing product, and especially for the people who have asked the bleaching question, because it's got that lash strengthening. After I remove the bleach of the brows, I clean it with this because it will give back that moisture to the hairs that were just stripped from the color. So you'll need that. You'll need your saline solution. So this is mandatory for lash lift and brow lift or lash curl. it's very important to have your saline solution because remember, as we mentioned, it degreases. And with the curl, it's going to allow the glues to work well with the lashes, especially on the adhesive, to stick onto it. If you don't degrease it properly, you're going to have some issues with gluing down the lashes. So you got that step for the prep work. I haven't cleaned the brush yet, but I'll show you the one of them. The Browista Artist Palettes, Browista Tools. This is the one that I mentioned has the spoolie at the other end, the plastic spoolie, and then the brush tip on the other one. One is pointier like this for your lashes, and the other one's wider. This is wider for your brows, and there's another one that's more slimmer and pointier for your lashes. Obviously, check with your state guide, but because it's plastic, you can use an intermediate level disinfectant to clean that and reuse it. So they're beautifully done with the rose gold and the black. So I would use these as well if you don't get the kit. And then you have your solutions, number 1 and number 2. My bad. Okay, they're written on there. And these come in a box together, 1 and 2 in a box. They don't come separately. They come together in one box, 1 and 2. Maybe order an extra one, another extra box. If you feel like you're going to pick up a lot more with these services, I would always suggest order an extra one to have on the side. And then you end it with the styling gel. If you have the tints already, you should have all the colors and the oxidants and the protection cream, but then you end it with your styling gel. And what would be extra that you would most likely, oh, did I lose Wendy?
I'm still here. I just took off the webcam for a minute. I'm good.
The styling gel would be perfect, as I mentioned, even as a retail item in your salon to bring in a nice stand as a point of purchase on the front of the reception desk, because this won't only have to be something you sell after a tinting service or a lifting service. You can sell this afterwards, after a waxing, or if somebody's brows are being a little unruly, they don't want to do brow lamination, they can take this home and use it. So that would be what you would need to have. If you already have the tints, you already have your natural browns, which are more popular for your brow area. So if you're going to be doing a lot of brows, your number 3 and your 3.1 are the most popular colors for your brow. But as I had mentioned, and Rula, we use this one. It's darker because her hair was darker. If I had somebody more blonder, I'd probably use a 3.1. And my best friend has become the graphite, so to cool down those warm tones of the browns. Okay, then you have your oxidant cream, and we already answered that question. Sorry that the bottle's a little tinted, but this is the cream, and 3%. If you go any higher in the percentage, that's under your own discretion. As we mentioned before in the presentation, RefectoCil is all about caring for the hairs on your face. They're not the same as the hair on your head. You have way less of them. You want to preserve them and take care of them. So don't go higher than 3%. And the misconception, which I had to learn from a hairstylist, is it doesn't tint faster. It doesn't help it get darker just because the percentage is higher. So don't think that misconception, and keep it at the 3%, either liquid or cream. I don't know if there's anything else you want. Oh, I can show you the ring. Great. Yeah, let me show you quickly that one. I don't have the ring one here, but it's low. I have to clean it.
Have the ring. I have the ring.
And this one, right? Perfect. Okay, you have the ring? Okay. I had the ring, but I'm not quite sure where it went. This is my favorite because it rests on my palm here. And there's tint still in it, but it just stays in there. And that way your hands are free. You can taunt the skin on one brow while you're working at it. I love these ones. Our old one was the white one. The white one looked really cute too because I felt very Parisian, like a Parisian artist. These were nice too, and you have the 2 sections to put your brush, and then either you're doing brows or lashes. But this has become my new best friend. Yeah, there's the ring. So the ring goes onto your finger. Yeah. And they got the black and rose gold theme to go with the brushes. So
yeah, great.
Really cool. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, I think we still have some outstanding questions, but we're going on almost 2 hours, so I think we need to.
Wow.
I know. But
you know what? That means it's a good webinar.
It is very good. So much information. We just to let everybody know, that we are here for you if you have questions about what products to purchase or, you know, the procedure, all that kind of stuff. Feel free to just give us a call. Chrissy, I did not load the presentation up onto my laptop. Do you mind just bringing it back up and going through the
Yes. So
For
let me
me,
share
I'm
again.
sorry, I forgot to do that.
Yes, that's a good thing you remembered. Okay, so let's do the sharing again. I just got to find the share.
I guess I'm going to take my mask off because Trini's in the back room. You can hear me better.
Okay, share. So now you can see the screen?
Yeah, that's great.
Everyone can see it? Okay, perfect. So I can
Yeah.
push down for you.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, so like we mentioned, just make sure to check your state board to verify if this is, there's Farhana. Hi, Farhana. If this is permitted in your state, and you can go to the next slide. Thanks, Chrissy, for doing this.
You're welcome.
Farhana's been working really hard. Hopefully some of you attended our webinars that we had during the shutdown. We did 20 webinars during the closure. Now that most states are back open, we kind of took a little bit of a break to get everything back up, but Farhana's been working really, really hard and has a lot of webinars coming up. Our next one is how to prevent and control maskne. And you can just go ahead and scan that QR code to sign up. We also have a link on our website under classes. It has all of our previous recordings of our webinars as well as our upcoming webinars and how to enroll in that. So go ahead and, click on that and then go to the next slide.
Next slide.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so just want to say thank you from Farhana representing the California office and us in Colorado and Chrissy with RefectoCil. We are very proud distributor of RefectoCil. My mom has been carrying them for, I think, since the beginning, maybe, Farhana, if you know. We really do look at our vendors as our partners and helping you to be successful. So we really appreciate Renee and Chrissy and their willingness to do this webinar with us today so that our customers can be successful with the great products that you offer. So thank you. And again, please feel free to reach out to us. We are there to answer questions, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much once again for joining. Yes, and I hope you're excited to offer this new service.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone's very excited about it. It's great. So thank you so much. Hope to see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.